The best book I read last year out of exactly 100 books was easily The Art of Focus by Dan Coe. Now, there are a ton of top contenders for number one, and I narrowed it down to about 22 books that were the best of the best as far as I'm concerned. My top three were in order for sure, but anything after that, it could easily be higher or lower on the list. They're all phenomenal. And even the full list of 100, I don't finish bad books. And like if you're reading a book that you're not enjoying, you're not getting something out of, I never feel pressure, put pressure on myself to finish it. I don't believe anybody else should too. Even though I do keep track of every book that I read, I'd never say that everybody has to do that. I just find it motivating. But it's also really helpful to have that list when you're going through every book that you've read. You're trying to pick some favorites and, share the best ones and, share the books that made the biggest impact on you. I wouldn't necessarily trust your memory on that. The top contender so far this year out of 19 books, I think, so far. See, this is where it's helpful to have the list. I think it's 19 books I finished so far this year, and my top contender so far, like this is like easily, no question, one of my favorite books of the entire year. I've been anticipating this for so long. I'm not going to draw it out. I'm not going to, make you wait till the end of the video or smash the like button or anything like that. Before I tell you, it is The Five Types of Wealth by Sahil Bloom. I'm on page 40 right now, but it is absolutely phenomenal so far. And the five types of wealth that he refers to very briefly are time wealth, which is just so incredibly important to me. I think out of all of the types of wealth, time wealth is one of my priorities. But again, like they're all important. An extremely fulfilling life is going to have the proper, balance and prioritization of all of these things, the maximization of all of these types of wealth. The expectations that I had going into this book were already super high. So for the book to exceed those expectations, like it's really something special. And I'm really enjoying it right now. It's one of those books that almost every single person should read. And I think yeah, virtually everybody should read it. And I do not say that very often, and certainly not about everything that I choose to read. Like I'll go through my list of books that I'm reading right now and things that I'm looking forward to, but you'll notice, I mean, some of these books you'll have no interest in. They're not going to be relevant to you, or I mean, it's obviously some of them might, so stick around. But like, not every book that I recommend on this channel is going to be perfect for everybody, or should be required reading. But this one, like, absolutely is because like this is everything. This is designing your life and just prioritizing the things that are actually important. It's about building a new scoreboard as opposed to the old scoreboard which had financial wealth. Like that was it. It was how many people are talking about you and where and like what do you have and what do you have that other people want, and like if you're winning in one dimension of life, you're winning in all of life. And that view is just wrong. I'll move on to the other stuff that I'm reading. These are the other ones that I'm working on right now. I've got a bunch on my phone too. I can't, for the life of me, finish something before starting two other books. So I've got a bunch of great ones on my phone too. One I'll mention just off the top of my head is called Napoleon's Library, and it's by this guy Louis Sarkozy, who's the son of the former president of France. And the book is about the books that influenced and shaped, Napoleon's life and character and thoughts, ambitions, and it looks super cool. I haven't started it yet, but it's one again. I have high expectations for that one, and oh man, I'm getting sidetracked again. But there's another book if you're into that. If you're into biographies, Napoleon: A Life by Andrew Roberts, one of my absolute favorite books of all time. Like not even among biographies, just like favorite books. It reads like a novel. Like Napoleon's life was a novel, and this book is just it's phenomenal. And I'll leave my notes. Like I take notes on every single book that I read, and I'll leave my notes for Napoleon: A Life down in the video description with my full reading list, my book newsletter. It's called The Reading Life, all that stuff down there. But if you're interested in that, that's where you find it. A book I haven't started yet, but it's coming up and it's so highly recommended. It's The Beginning of Infinity by David Deutsch. It's going to be one of the more intellectually challenging books that I read this year, but I did finish Infinite Jest and a bunch of other like really hard books. I mean, they're the training weights of the mind. So I expect it to build some big intellectual muscles with The Beginning of Infinity. Then another heavy hitter, despite its really small size, is The Undiscovered Self by Carl Jung. And this is like 100 pages, almost to the point where, like, I mean, can this count as a book? Obviously, I'm going to count it, but it's pretty small. Like, It's tiny. I've already kind of flipped through it, and it is heavy. Like it punches way above its page count. So, The Undiscovered Self by Carl Jung. I'll throw in a lighter one here since we're talking some heavy philosophy and stuff. And I've got some more philosophy coming up. But this one is one I'm almost finished. It'll be my I think, 20th book of the year, and it's Get Shit Done by Jeffrey Gitomer. And he's one of the top salesmen in the world. Like sold like millions and millions of copies of his books. He is just like absolutely one of the best in the entire world in the field of sales. I can't recommend his book like highly enough. It's really, really good. And yeah, it's not too difficult. Obviously, it's one that I ripped through. But one thing I will say, this book feels amazing in my hands, which is true for a lot of books these days. I don't know what they're making books out of now, but this one feels awesome. And then this one I'm reading right now, it's called Win Your Next Hour by Danny Lair. And it's a phenomenal business book, time management, and he's just a really impressive guy. He spent a decade surrounded by Olympic athletes, world record holders, eight-figure business owners, and a lot of his best, business knowledge, time management, leadership knowledge is in this book. I'll have lots more to say about this book later on, but it's one that I'm really enjoying. And one of the things that I recommend, people do is just seek advice from the people who have done the things that you want to do. And importantly, have helped other people do those things as well, right? Which is not always the same thing. But yeah, this guy definitely passes my quality check in terms of business advice and just like being a solid role model and mentor. And yeah, so Win Your Next Hour by Danny Lair, it's really good. And I'll leave links to all of these books down in the video description as well. Next up, we've got another philosophy book. It's called God or Space by Walter Mayer. And I've not started this one. I mean, I've kind of flipped through it, but I've been talking to the author just on Instagram, and you can tell like who influenced him for sure. So we're talking about people like Jiddu Krishnamurti and Alan Watts, all those guys. And the subtitle here, "Rewiring the Human Perception of Time." As I've said, time is one of the most important things in my life, right? I have a visceral understanding of its importance and the nature of it, and anything to do with time and how we experience it, I will absolutely read. And it looks fascinating just from the limited kind of flipping through it, skimming I've done so far. But I do plan to start it and finish it this month, and I'm really looking forward to it. It looks really good, and importantly, I've heard like other people that I respect on Instagram and what have you. They all speak really highly of this book. So, God or Space, last four books here. And then I want to share a really cool milestone that I just reached. I want to celebrate with you guys a little bit. And so I'll get through these last four books. And this one, I'm enjoying this so much. It's called Sponsor Magnet by my friend Justin Moore. And he is the guy when it comes to sponsors and, brand partnerships and just brand deals, things like that. Like there's almost literally no one else that I think of more highly, or think of first, when I think of these things, right? And I'm a full-time educational content creator now. This is literally all that I do, and a lot of my income comes from brand deals and sponsorships and things like that. And so his book is everything that he knows about how to attract more of them, how to price them, how to execute them, and just how to set yourself up for just massive success with brand deals and partnerships. And it's really good. It's like every single thing that he knows. Then you've got Unreasonable Success and How to Achieve It by Richard Koch. And I've read several of his books so far. And another one that I really recommend, it's called the 80-20 Principle, also known as the Pareto Principle. 80-20, you've almost definitely heard of this. And yeah, his book is one of the better books about that. And this one is nine similarities, nine characteristics or traits of people who have achieved unreasonable success, right? And what he means by that is success that nobody was expecting them to achieve, but they had these nine things. They basically like pulled it off late in life. So I'm really enjoying this one right now. And so these last two, and like this next one is just so out of or like you would not have guessed this book, judging from the other ones. Like this is somebody else's reading list. But I started it already. I'm actually really enjoying it. It's called The Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix. And if you don't know what a final girl is, it's basically in horror movies, the final girl is like there's always a final, like last surviving girl who like basically like kills the killer in the end and like is the only remaining survivor. And so this book is like it's like a support group for all of the final girls in or like I don't know. Like it's not like it's totally different from everything that I've been discussing so far in this video, but it's actually really, really good. I'm enjoying it, and yeah, no, it's good. It's one of those ones that Like, I wouldn't necessarily be seen reading it in public, but I have to be honest, I'm actually really enjoying it. And yeah, like this is just between us, right? So, Final Girl Support Group is really good. And then the last book, it's another short one. It's really just it's become so highly recommended by a lot of people that I respect. It's called Mastery by George Leonard. It's about how to achieve mastery in anything that you choose to do. And for me, that's, reading and writing. My goal is to read 10,000 books. I've read close to 1,400 so far. I mentioned a little announcement or milestone. I've just passed 5,000 subscribers to my newsletter. It's called The Reading Life. It's where I share all my best book recommendations every week. 5,400 people right now at the time I'm recording this video. They, get my emails every single week with all these book recommendations. And, I share my notes from each book and, my latest YouTube video, right? You'll see that. So even if you're not subscribed, you'll still hear about my latest videos that come out. And if you're an educational content creator yourself and you want to go full time like I have, I'm basically teaching every single thing that I know inside my school community. It's called the Competitive Advantage. Now, it's the first link in the video description. That's where you can find out all about it. We've got about 49 members right now. It's growing all the time. School actually came out with an affiliate program, which is really cool. So once you're a member, you can actually earn money by referring other people. And it's like every single thing I know about how to, define your ideal audience, become extremely well known in your niche. I've got, more than 150,000 followers across platforms right now. It's basically everything that's working now, everything that I know about what's taken me from zero, from just kind of thinking about doing this to now, having this massive audience going full time. And I'm at about $5,000 per month revenue, which is not a lot, compared to some other creators. They're raking in tens of thousands of dollars a month. But I don't teach what I don't know, right? So I know how to get to 5K per month, and I can help you do that. So it's the first link down in the video description. I just wanted to share that milestone with you. I thought it was kind of cool. So yeah, I'll leave it there. The next video is all queued up for you. I want to thank you for watching this one, and always remember, bookmarks are for quitters.
I don't waste time, no, I make time. All these people wanna hate, fine, I'ma make mine. While you sitting there complaining, I'll be training. While you sitting there just waiting, I'm creating. Yeah, sometimes I think that I'm unstoppable.